Welcome, everybody, to SQW37, the Gobble Series. This is our pre-Survivor Series show where we make our predictions. We spoke a little bit about Survivor Series last week, and we've got more to say this week in the effect of predictions, because it is that time. We're going to have a little bit of a shorter podcast. We'll kind of go match by match and go from there. And let's dive in. I'm Dali JJ. Joining me is the one, the only, the double JJ.
There you go. Perfect.
I like that. Yeah. And John is not able to join us. He sent his predictions, but apparently he's at some like Catalina wine mixer type of thing. I don't understand. Dang it, John. But we're going to go ahead and start. So Survivor Series is tomorrow. We're recording this on Saturday.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they used to do it like on
Used to be a Thanksgiving show, yeah.
Yeah.
Like early on. They changed that relatively early, but
they did. I think part of it was
you can go back and listen to the Survivor Series primer episode that we did last year.
Yep, that was an awesome one. We've done a few of those, so yeah, definitely listen to that one because it's quite informative. And we don't have as much of the kind of mixed matches. We have SmackDown versus Raw, like two basically of the more of the classic matches, but that's all right. We can go from what we need to do. So let's start. There is I think it's the pre-show. It's Enzo versus Kalisto singles match for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
Do you want to hop in with this? Your first prediction?
Jeez.
Enzo is the champ right now.
Enzo is the champ. Yeah. Based on how that title has just been bouncing around like hotcakes, it's really impossible to know where the future of that division is, isn't it? You just sit there and it's like, well, Kalisto did win the title, but then immediately lost it, and then it's gonna win it again. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Enzo on this one.
You're gonna go with Enzo?
Yeah. I feel like they're trying to plot. They're trying to do something with Enzo. So
I think the same thing. I think they're, I'm by the way, John also said Enzo. I think I'm in kind of the same reasoning as you. I don't really know what they're doing with this at the cruiserweight stuff right now. And so it started off really cool where they had the classic, and since then it's been sort of getting chipped away over and over and over the last year, and it's become like nothing major special, like nothing really super interesting to me, to be honest.
I haven't honestly watched the 205 Live since I sat through it when I went to SmackDown earlier in the year.
Yeah. I totally agree.
205 Live I've watched, so it's not interesting TV anymore.
No. Yeah, I
haven't done anything to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess Enzo's probably the best, one of the bigger names right now in there. So I think.
And they were talking about giving Enzo like one of those like talk show things on 205 Live, which will just devalue the wrestling even more. It's already a 1 hour show, and you're gonna suck up 20 minutes of it with Enzo on the microphone being Enzo. Like, he already does that every match. So now you need to give him a TV show. I hope they don't go through with that, but they will.
Agreed. They will. Let's move on. So that's the pre-show match. Take a look at the Intercontinental Champion, Miz, is going up against the U.S. Champion, Baron Corbin. And so there are no other championship matches, no titles changing hands. The rest are just supposed to be
brand versus brand.
Brand versus brand. This is the brand versus brand event.
This is what bragging rights was supposed to be all those few years ago, and they had this.
So Miz versus Baron Corbin. I actually think Baron Corbin's going to win this. I have this. It seems that they're trying to make a strange push for him, at least the last month or so.
It seemed like that push was like halted with the whole Money in the Bank thing, but now it seems like they're like, it's back on, just at a much smaller scale. Like, maybe not world champion right now, but this mid card, and I think beating the Miz would go a long way for him right now. And Miz does not get hurt at all by losing to Baron Corbin. In fact, it would make him. He can work with losing to Baron Corbin.
You know what's really interesting is we talked about what Ric Flair did, how him losing his loss to people actually helped get folks, actually help put folks over.
Yeah.
I think the Miz is starting to do that a little bit because a lot of folks are facing off against him, beating him, and he's almost helping launch a few careers here and there. So maybe it is Corbin's turn. So yeah, that's why I chose Corbin. John chose the Miz. Who did you?
I mean, I choose Corbin as well. I think Corbin. I think this is Corbin's match to lose. Just like pretty much like all of his matches. Like every single one of his matches are critical for him to win because he cannot really. He's on the edge right now, like of going somewhere in the company, and every match is important to him, especially a pay-per-view high-profile match.
Yeah, exactly. On a big pay-per-view, one of the big four, big three.
The big four.
Up next, we have the 5-on-5, a traditional Survivor Series elimination match. Team Raw of the women's side: Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Asuka, Sasha, and Bayley versus SmackDown, which is Becky, Carmella, Naomi, Tamina, and Natalya.
Yeah. I'm gonna. These are weird because there's no like. Only one person has anything to lose in this match, and that's Asuka.
I agree.
Like, is she gonna eat a pin in her first loss, being in a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match on like her first loss in the WWE being this, or is there going to be shenanigans, or is there? I think Team Raw will end up winning this.
I also have Raw. I think this isn't a very compelling match to me for that reason. I think a lot of the rivalries have sort of gone on, calmed down a bit. Really, everybody's just talking about Alexa and Charlotte, which we'll do next here. And Asuka obviously just sort of made her name known to a lot of the mainstream WWE fans, and you don't want to see her. I guess I wouldn't want them to see her lose right away. I don't think that would be helpful on a big event like this. So yeah, I'm Team Raw, but John chose SmackDown.
All right.
So yeah, actually, whether he did or didn't, I'm saying that John chose SmackDown. We'll just like randomly whatever he chose, we'll change it. Yeah. Let's
to our liking,
to our advantage.
There's no ties.
Exactly, and then of course, what will happen is those will all be correct, and we will lose because of that. The Raw next match is the women's champion Alexa Bliss versus SmackDown women's champion Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Now Charlotte has a big match coming up, right? On is it next Saturday? Or is it Starrcade? Isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Ric Flair is there, and so on. So this is an interesting match. I think from my standpoint, everybody's riding high on the Ric Flair 30 for 30.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to have a lot of folks tuning into this match.
She has a book coming. She got that book coming out and stuff. And so you got, I from the minute this one was announced, my heart said Charlotte. But how many times has Alexa Bliss just like absolutely like I go against her and she
right exactly
she wins every time. No, Bayley just can't lose every match to Alexa Bliss. Oh, I guess she can or whatever. Like, so. But I'm just gonna stick with Charlotte because I have to. It's my gut reaction. It was my first feeling.
Same here. We all chose Charlotte. Yep.
Yeah.
So what's interesting through 4 matches right now, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 more.
This is gonna be a long pay-per-view.
This is gonna be a long pay-per-view, but it's a wash for 2 of them that we've chosen the same, all 3 of us. Yeah. And you and I have chosen the same on a couple, but John is the outlier. He has 2 different selections than we do.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward because that's half the matches right now. An even number is not a good sign.
No.
So we'll see what happens after that. I think the next match we'll talk about here. This one to me is really interesting, really compelling. In fact, this is probably next to the Raw versus SmackDown, kind of the typical Survivor Series elimination match. This one I think is really interesting. Is the Shield versus the New Day.
Yeah. This is exactly why like these interpromotional sort of things sort of exist. It's time to get sort of like a weird sort of it's a weird like modern day fantasy match almost
Yeah,
in its
yeah.
own little way. Like they were both around at roughly the same time, but they never had a like
Yeah.
program or anything. So it's funny to like, oh well, yeah, I guess now's the time to do this, huh? So, while everyone's healthy and young still, and you have them all
Yeah.
on the same.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of over at the moment, right?
Yeah,
Everyone's on
yeah,
so John chose the Shield.
yeah. I think the Shield as well.
You think the
I
Shield as well?
honestly do. Yeah, I think imagine bringing the Shield back just to have them fall to the New Day, like in one of their first like complete like this is like their actual like outside of some TV stuff. Like this is their pay-per-view big first return match together and
Hmm.
stuff. And
And I was gonna. So it's funny. I had the Shield first, and
yeah,
then for that reason, that I thought, you know what, it could be fun for the New Day to win because they are, they're
yeah,
sort of a fan favorite. They're geek side, and then I thought, then I flip flop back to the Shield and thought, well, the New Day will still be the New Day even
yeah,
after they lose. In,
yeah,
in this type of situation, they'll get everybody dancing in the middle of the stage with the
yeah,
Shield, and so
yeah.
I went back to the Shield and figured that's probably to me, it's almost obvious, well, but not quite. So
Yeah. It's almost too obvious to an extent. Like it seems like you could get a weird mark out moment by having the
yes,
New Day
yeah,
beat like yeah, by having Kofi Kingston pin Roman Reigns or something would just absolutely yeah,
yep,
the crowd would just go wild. But yeah, no, that's a Shield match. That feels like booking wise the WWE wouldn't want the Shield to fall. I don't know if
right.
it's but if it is just a tradition, like not an elimination match,
It's not. It's the traditional match.
yeah,
Yeah.
if it's just a traditional match, you could have Dean eat the pin really easily
Hmm.
and sort of set the groundwork. In the future, you could easily because we know that the Shield's going to break up and it turns one of them heel, like
Yes, yeah. That's
and it's
that's
gonna
going to happen. Yeah,
yeah, and it's going to be Dean Ambrose this
yeah.
time since it was
Hmm.
Seth the first time, and it's definitely not going to be Roman Reigns. So
Right. It will
it's going
never
to be
be
Dean.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
Um, Next one is, and this one to me this was difficult for me to pick, and this is the tag team match. The Raw
yeah.
champs, Cesaro and Sheamus versus SmackDown champs, the Usos.
I have no horse in this race.
Neither do I. Neither
Yeah,
do
I don't hate Cesaro and Sheamus. I think
I.
they're a great tag team.
Mhm.
I do not like the Usos. Haven't.
Yeah.
I think they're better now with this gimmick than they've been, but I just don't care. So it's like, who do you choose in this?
This one's tough. So John had the Usos. Um, and I'm ready to choose Cesaro and Sheamus just to mix it up from John yet again.
Yeah,
Although here's the interesting thing with John choosing so many that are different than us. I think that ends up being he has the opportunity to really win out pretty strong. So I almost want to choose the same as John just to help us, help me personally. But who do you
But
choose?
I,
Who do you
I,
choose?
my gut instinct when this finally sort of became a thing after when it was uh, Dean and Seth, it was going to be Dean and Seth. But once
Huh?
it became Sheamus and Cesaro, I was like, yeah, okay, this will be the Usos.
Okay, so you're choosing. Then I
So
will choose Cesaro,
yeah,
Sheamus and Cesaro, just to mix it up
yeah, because
because
there's no way of knowing what
yeah,
there's no gain in the match. There's no
there is
loss in
none.
that match. It's just card filler.
It really is.
Because
This could have been a coin flip. I think could have
yeah,
been a coin flip.
because who man, nobody gets like nobody cares. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just it really is. We have to have these two teams fight because we have to have every championship featured on this card,
Yep.
essentially.
Yep.
So
All right, and this is the big one: Team Raw versus Team SmackDown men's division. You have Team Raw: Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Finn, Samoa Joe, and Triple H versus Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke, and Cena.
and Cena,
This could
which
be I
no,
think,
notice a new name in there since the last
yeah,
time we were
yeah,
on this podcast only a week ago.
yeah. I mean, we
So
mentioned we're like, hey, we have the old guys side, the old day and the new day, basically.
yeah,
The old
yeah.
gen and
So
the new gen.
since the podcast, Jason Jordan got kicked off, like almost literally by Triple H.
Yep.
Triple H put himself in there.
I actually think smartly, to be honest. I think Triple H is a bigger draw than now. I'm actually really interested in watching this. This match.
This match is strictly here to set up few coming up storylines. It feels like you can just see storylines sort of brewing out of this whole thing, like, because there has been a rumor since the get-go that Kurt Angle versus Triple H at WrestleMania was going to be a thing, and you're just like, that could go either way. That, you know, does that mean that team loses and it causes that? Wouldn't it cause strife between those two? Because that'd be stupid. Like that'd be so stupid. Like Triple H isn't really Monday Night Raw. Like, that's the weird thing about it. Like,
hold on. So here. I have a visitor right now.
Oh boy.
Hold on, my little visitor here.
Oh, hi there.
I'm recording a podcast about wrestling. I need you to help me choose the team that I should vote for. There's going to be two teams that are going up against each other. You have the team that's Team Raw from one side, and the other team is Team SmackDown. Which team should I choose?
I'm not sure.
You can pick one. Pick one.
The second one.
Team SmackDown? All right, thank you. Go have fun. I'll see you in a little bit. There, I guess my choice has been made because to me it was a little bit of a toss-up, but I do think, to be honest, I was going to go with this selection of SmackDown because I think there are, to me, some really interesting, like you're saying, storylines that are going to be coming out of, especially the Raw side. I could see a lot of people like stabbing each other in the back and so on. So.
I can see Braun getting taken out early, having Kane come out and do something to him or something. Like, there's a lot that can happen in that match. There's not as much strife on the SmackDown side. Like,
right. Yeah,
it's not like it's, you know, Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Nakamura, and Cena. Like, those guys all have their own programs coming up. Like, you know, like unrelated to anything on the Raw side, anything within their own team. So,
So who are you choosing? So John chose Raw.
I also feel like because I chose Raw for the women's side to give SmackDown, I feel like Vince thinks that Raw is such the number one show in the world that having SmackDown win gives them a major rub and will somehow equal ratings for SmackDown or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like SmackDown.
Okay.
I really do. I feel like there's going to be too much shenanigans in that match to really make it matter at the end. Like, it took, like, who wins and who loses. It's just going to be all about storytelling, future plot points for the company. So,
well, then that leads us to the final match.
We didn't say John chose.
Oh, John chose Raw. Yeah, John chose Raw. Yep. So 2 SmackDowns and a Raw.
Yep.
It's funny because I was tempted to choose Raw at first, but then because I chose the Raw women, I think John did the same thing. He chose the SmackDown women and went with the Raw. You kind of do want to pick the opposite side.
Yeah. Well, considering WWE is just always about 50-50 booking, it seems like even with the same card, they'll do 50-50 booking. But
so we're right or John's right. Yeah. Either John gets 2 points or we get 2 points, and this could I think those could be very big swing opportunity. In fact, what's funny is I think the women go first, if I remember, on the card. So we might know a lot of how the rest of the card could pan out by that like second or third match. So,
and it's just one of those things where I think everyone's going to pick the same winner for the champion versus champion match. Because...
Well, I don't know. I'm going to let you. So that we have champion versus champion. This is the final match. You have Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus WWE Champion AJ Styles.
God, it would be so cool to have AJ Styles win that match. It would just be the coolest win for his career. Like, two former IWGP champions going head to head in the WWE ring. Like, I want AJ Styles to win so bad that I want to pick him and have it like will it into existence.
So I am picking AJ Styles partly for that reason. The other part being that I think even though Brock's still this monster, and by the way, what an awesome promo that was the other day where the dude was proposing and Heyman just went off on him. That was just perfectly, how do you propose during a WWE pro? Oh, God. But I think, nobody's losing anything in this match.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know, but like, I don't know what Brock's momentum is anymore.
Right.
Like, it's like you want to say, like, yeah, but does Brock lose his sort of monster momentum coming out of this because he just had those two, like, he just had two really
he
high
lost
profile...
last year, right? He lost last year at Survivor Series to Goldberg.
That was it Survivor? Yeah, it would have been Survivor Series last year. I don't know. But
it was Goldberg with the super quick.
The super quick
16-second or 20-second, whatever that was.
Yeah, that was wild. That was a hell of a match idea. But like, he just comes off of two big, like, fighting two big, huge, when Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe, and you have these two big sort of like guys that look like they were something against Brock Lesnar, and then you have put him against AJ Styles, who we know is the best wrestler, but in WWE thinking, it's like he doesn't look like he would beat Brock Lesnar to them. So it's that kind of... It's that weird. It's super weird.
John chose Brock, I think, for that.
I know.
I chose AJ because I thought, you know what? I want to mix it up. Also because once I saw John choosing Brock, I chose AJ. So you're the tiebreaker. You're the you get to make that call. Does Brock win finally at Survivor Series?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Brock.
You're gonna go with Brock. Okay, well, this is good because what we've done now is we have really mixed this up. I'll read these again. So, Enzo and Kalisto, that's a wash. Let's see here, the Bliss versus Charlotte, that's a wash. We all chose that one. Shield versus New Day, that's a wash. We all chose that. So those three, we've all chosen the same selection. I have made a couple big differences here with the Brock versus AJ and Cesaro and Sheamus versus Usos. So where I chose opposite of you and John. So that's good. John, on the other hand, went opposite us on the team, the brand versus brand.
Yeah.
So he chose Raw in the men's and he chose SmackDown in the women's. So we're starting to get some things that are, it's quite a big mix right there now. And then finally, you get down to it, Corbin versus Miz could actually be the deciding factor because everything else is so mixed up that it could be that way. So it's good. We have, it looks like an uneven number on both sides, which means we may be able to get ourselves something that ends up with a definitive answer.
Is there a potential for a tie in any way? Like
there is. I think there always is, probably. So we can choose. Let's choose time wise. What we think.
If we have there's no potential for a three-way tie, right?
Correct. There's no potential for a three-way tie. Yeah.
If the person that isn't involved in the tie should just pick pick the result, like not. Pick something.
Oh,
my
interesting.
idea, like I've always thought, have so next week if there's a two-way tie, the person that's not in that tie just picks the tiebreaker in some way. Make a quiz, a Price is Right gaming thing, something, some sort of the loser picks the poison essentially.
I think that works for me. Me. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Okay. Well, with that said, we've made our decisions here. I think it's going to be a good. It has the potential to be a fun Survivor Series for some of these bigger matches.
It has the potential to be a great Survivor Series, but because of all of the matches and how they're laid out, it also has the potential of just being just a stinker.
It does.
Have everything. Just some matches can just be like, oh, why did you do that? That was what you decided. You had all of this, and this is how you wanted it to play.
And those last second changes have been anything but some of them haven't really been welcome. But anyways, with that said, let's sign off here. You can find us at SQW Podcast on Twitter, sidequesting.com. You can find me at Dali Domofsky. You can find John at John Keogh. JJ, where can we find you?
At _double_J.
And we have the little one. You can say hi and bye to everybody. No? All right. And that's my daughter. You can find her on Kid and Play, the very popular YouTube podcast about kids playing video games. With that said, we'll see you guys. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Watch.